Imagine living the life of a glamorous influencer, the world at your feet, all while hiding a dark secret. Your sugar daddy's wealth fuels it all, but loyalty comes at a deadly price. Naomi Carter's refusal to play by the rules led her straight into a web of betrayal and death. This tale is a chilling reminder of how ambition and manipulation can destroy lives. It's a haunting look at the price of secrecy, the toxic grip of power, and the devastating fallout of unchecked emotions. Before we uncover the shocking twists and turns of Naomi's tragic downfall, make sure to like and subscribe to Crime Chronicles, your destination for the most gripping tales of human behavior gone awry. Naomi Carter, a stunning 22-year-old influencer with over 1 million followers, was the epitome of luxury. Her Instagram page showcased designer bags, private jet trips, and lavish dinners at 5-star restaurants. Fans adored her for her charm, beauty, and seemingly effortless success. Behind the screen, however, her opulent lifestyle was anything but effortless. Naomi owed it all to Victor Dupree, a 50-year-old real estate tycoon and her secret benefactor. Victor Dupree was a man of influence and wealth, a commanding presence in the business world. On the surface, he was the picture of respectability, a devoted husband, father of 2, and a respected figure in his community. But beneath this veneer, Victor had a darker side. He craved control, and Naomi was his latest project. He approached her months after she went viral for a fashion collaboration, luring her in with promises of wealth and stability. Naomi's life had not always been luxurious. Raised in a struggling single-parent household in Atlanta, she dreamed of breaking free from financial hardship. When Victor entered her life, offering not just money but a way out, she didn't hesitate. The agreement was clear: he would fund her extravagant lifestyle as long as she remained loyal, discreet, and dependent solely on him. Naomi rationalized the arrangement as a business deal, one where she had the upper hand. Publicly, Naomi portrayed herself as a self-made influencer. Her fans saw her as a beacon of inspiration, believing she had earned her success through partnerships and hard work. But the truth was far more complicated. While she flaunted luxury online, she often felt trapped by Victor's demands. He dictated what she could wear, who she could associate with, and even what she posted. Naomi's sparkling social media persona masked the growing strain of her dependence on Victor. Their lives intertwined in subtle but significant ways. Victor's financial power loomed over Naomi, funding her designer wardrobe, high-rise apartment, and exotic vacations. Naomi, on the other hand, became his escape, a younger, vibrant woman who made him feel alive in ways his home life no longer could. While Naomi enjoyed the benefits, she began to resent the invisible strings attached to Victor's generosity. Their relationship grew increasingly complex as Victor's control tightened. He began to pop up unexpectedly at her events, sending subtle warnings whenever he felt she was slipping away. Naomi, desperate to maintain her public image, played along, convincing herself that she was in control. But beneath her polished exterior, cracks were forming, setting the stage for a chain of events that would turn her world upside down. Naomi Carter's glamorous world began to feel suffocating. Victor Dupree had been her ticket to the high life, but his controlling nature now felt more like a gilded cage. As her fame grew, so did her desire for freedom. The allure of independence became impossible to ignore, and Naomi decided to push the boundaries of her arrangement with Victor, testing how far she could go before he snapped. It started subtly. Naomi began mingling with younger men at events, allowing herself to be photographed in their company. She posted flirty Instagram stories with cryptic captions, hinting at a romantic life her fans were desperate to know about. Her most daring move, however, came when she publicly stepped out with Sean Bradley, a rising music producer barely older than her. Sean was charming, vibrant, and everything Victor wasn't: young, fun, and carefree. Victor noticed immediately. At first, he tried to brush it off, convincing himself that Naomi was just playing a game to make him jealous. But when he saw her laughing and holding hands with Sean in a paparazzi photo, his jealousy turned into paranoia. He called her repeatedly, demanding explanations, but Naomi deflected. She told him it was all for clout, a calculated move to keep her image relevant. Victor didn't buy it. He began showing up unannounced, grilling her about her whereabouts and scrutinizing her every move. Naomi, emboldened by her growing following and new romance, started to push back. For the first time, she told Victor she didn't need him. "I built this life on my own," she snapped during one particularly heated argument. Victor, livid, warned her not to forget who made her who she was. Naomi Carter's affair with Sean Bradley was everything she had been yearning for, spontaneous, thrilling, and raw. Sean was the antithesis of Victor Dupree. At just 25, he was full of energy, humor, and a devil-may-care attitude. Their connection was electric from the start. They met at an exclusive party in Los Angeles, where Sean's charisma and charm immediately caught Naomi's attention. He wasn't impressed by her wealth or fame, and that only intrigued her more. Their first encounter was a whirlwind. After exchanging flirtatious banter at the party, Sean invited Naomi to a late-night drive through the city. They ended up on a secluded hill overlooking the twinkling lights of downtown LA, where they shared their first kiss. For Naomi, it was exhilarating, a stark contrast to the controlled, transactional relationship she had with Victor. Sean made Naomi feel alive in ways Victor never could. He was spontaneous, often whisking her away to secret getaways and hidden clubs. With Sean, Naomi laughed more, danced more, and felt like her authentic self. He showered her with attention that didn't come with strings attached, and for the first time in years, she felt desired for who she was rather than what she represented. But their fiery romance came with risks. Sean was a notorious partygoer and had a reputation for being a ladies' man. Naomi brushed off the rumors, convinced that what they shared was different. Little did she know, Sean's reckless lifestyle would have devastating consequences. Unbeknownst to Naomi, Sean had contracted HIV during a fling with another woman before their relationship began. Naomi, blinded by the excitement and freedom Sean offered, never questioned his past or took precautions. She was too caught up in the passion to consider the danger. Weeks into their affair, Naomi began to feel unwell. What started as mild fatigue quickly escalated into night sweats, unexplained weight loss, and persistent flu-like symptoms. At first, she brushed it off as exhaustion from her hectic schedule, but Victor noticed the change. Despite the growing tension in their relationship, Victor insisted she see a doctor, concerned for her health. Victor arranged for her to visit a private hospital, where the doctors ran extensive tests. When the results came back, Naomi's world shattered. She had tested positive for HIV. The room spun as she tried to process the news. Victor, who was in the room, froze in disbelief. His mind raced, piecing together the implications. Naomi still reeling from the devastating news of her HIV diagnosis. The truth hung heavy in the air, suffocating the space between them as they walked into their lavish home. Naomi was silent, her eyes hollow, while Victor's face was a mask of disbelief and fury. His mind raced, thinking about the possibility of being infected as well, all while Naomi's silence gnawed at him. He slammed the front door shut, his anger spilling over. "How long have you known, Naomi?" he demanded, his voice low and menacing. His eyes burned with rage as he turned toward her. Naomi, still in shock, hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to answer. I didn't know until today, Victor," Naomi whispered, but her voice faltered as Victor took a step closer. "You're lying!" Victor shouted, his voice rising. He grabbed Naomi by the arm, shaking her as if trying to force the truth out of her. "This didn't just happen overnight, did it? You were with him, weren't you? With that boy, Sean. You had no regard for our life, for everything we built together." Naomi, struggling to free herself from his grip, finally snapped. "Don't pretend like you didn't know about Sean, Victor. You always treated me like a possession, never a partner. I needed to feel something real, something passionate, something alive. Sean gave me that. He gave me everything you never did." Victor's face turned crimson with fury. The jealousy, the betrayal, the sheer humiliation of it all burned inside him like wildfire. The anger and hurt twisted in his gut, his jealousy consuming every rational thought. He released her arm, only to raise his hand to his face and swipe his palm through his hair, pacing back and forth. "You think you can just betray me like this? You think you can destroy everything we've worked for?" His voice trembled as he advanced toward Naomi, a twisted mix of hurt and fury in his eyes. "And now you bring this disease into my life? You've ruined us, Naomi. You've ruined everything." Naomi, her anger rising in response, stood tall, defiant despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "You don't get to play the victim, Victor. You've always had control over me, over my life. You think I wanted this? I didn't ask for any of this. You never once thought about what I needed, only about what you could take from me." Victor's face darkened, his jealousy and rage flaring uncontrollably. "I gave you everything. I gave you this life. And this is how you repay me?" He lunged at her, grabbing her by the shoulders and shaking her violently. His grip tightened, squeezing with every ounce of his anger. "You're nothing but a selfish, ungrateful woman." Naomi gasped, her breath quickening, but she didn't back down. "You never loved me, Victor. You only wanted to control me. You can't stand the thought of me with someone else. But maybe, just maybe, I'm better off without you." The words ignited something primal inside him. Victor's eyes went wide with rage, his jealousy erupting into full force. "You think I don't love you? You think I haven't given you everything? I should have never let you out of my sight. You are mine, Naomi. And if I can't have you, then no one can." In one swift motion, Victor's hands were around her throat, tightening with ferocity as he lifted her off the ground. Naomi struggled, clawing at his hands in a futile attempt to break free, but Victor's rage had clouded all reason. He squeezed harder, watching as her eyes widened in fear and her face turned pale, struggling for breath. "You're going to pay for this, Naomi. You've made your choice," Victor hissed through clenched teeth, his voice hoarse with emotion. As Naomi's body went limp in his hands, Victor's grip didn't loosen. The reality of what he was doing didn't hit him until it was too late. He held her until he could feel her heart stop, and when he finally let go, Naomi slumped to the ground like a rag doll. The once vibrant, powerful woman, who had lived a life filled with luxury, fame, and secrets, was now gone. Her body lay lifeless on the marble floors, the deadly consequences of betrayal and jealousy written all over the scene. Victor stood over her, panting, his mind racing. What had he done? The adrenaline slowly faded, leaving him with the cold, stark reality of his actions. Naomi, the woman who had both captivated and eluded him, was dead, her life snuffed out in a violent explosion of rage and betrayal. And as the silence of the room settled in, he realized the irrevocable truth: he had destroyed everything. After the brutal murder of Naomi, Victor Dupree's next steps were calculated and ruthless. His mind raced as he tried to cover his tracks, knowing full well that his wealth and power could shield him from any consequences if he acted swiftly enough. His first move was to call 3 of his most trusted bodyguards, men who had been with him for years, loyal and willing to do whatever it took to protect his empire. He quickly briefed them on the situation, ordering them to clean up the scene, erase every trace of Naomi's existence from the property, and ensure nothing would link him to the crime. Victor's plan was simple: destroy everything. They arrived at his mansion in the dead of night, and without hesitation, they set to work. The first task was to clean Naomi's body, scrubbing it with bleach to remove any traces of her DNA that might have been left behind on the floors. It was a meticulous process, and the bodyguards were thorough in their efforts to eliminate any possible evidence that could tie Victor to the murder. As they worked, Victor quickly fled the country in his private jet, not waiting for dawn to break. He knew that the longer he stayed, the greater the chance of being caught. The jet would take him to a secluded location, far away from the prying eyes of the authorities. Meanwhile, his bodyguards were left to handle the final steps of the cover-up. They found Naomi's phone, knowing that it could be a source of incriminating evidence. They decided that the only way to guarantee it wouldn't be used against Victor was to destroy it completely. The phone was wiped clean of any messages, photos, or videos that could reveal the truth. Then, they tossed it into the ocean, watching it sink into the murky depths, where it would never be found again. It was the perfect way to ensure Naomi's digital trail was gone for good. With the phone destroyed and no trace of Naomi's presence in the house, the bodyguards took her lifeless body and transported it to a secluded area, deep in the woods, far from civilization. There, they buried her in an unmarked grave, the earth swallowing up any remnants of the woman who had once lived a glamorous and public life. The burial was swift, and they made sure to cover their tracks, ensuring that nothing would link them to Naomi's final resting place. By the time the bodyguards had finished their grim task, Victor was already miles away, lounging in a luxury villa in a foreign country. He had arranged for his return only when the investigation had blown over, confident that his connections and wealth would protect him. Naomi, in his eyes, was nothing more than a casualty of his own ambition and desire to maintain control over everything in his life, including her. Back in the United States, Naomi's absence didn't go unnoticed. Her millions of followers were accustomed to her daily posts on social media, sharing glimpses of her lavish lifestyle, fashion tips, and carefully curated moments. But when the posts stopped abruptly, her fans began to grow concerned. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no word from Naomi. Her comment sections were flooded with questions. Where is Naomi? Why hasn't she posted? Is she okay? Her followers, many of whom had admired Naomi for her candor and transparency, began to fear the worst. As time passed, the worries deepened, and rumors spread. Some believed she was simply taking a break, while others speculated about something far darker. But it wasn't until weeks later that the truth began to surface. One morning, while out for her daily jog, a woman walking her dog stumbled upon something unusual. The dog was the first to alert her, sniffing at the ground near a secluded patch of woods. Curiosity piqued, the woman ventured closer and gasped when she saw a patch of disturbed earth. Beneath the soil was a body, badly decomposed, but still recognizable as Naomi Carter. Her once glamorous appearance was now a decaying, unidentifiable form, but her signature appearance, long, flowing hair and fashionable attire, was unmistakable. The woman immediately called the authorities. After the dog discovered the disturbing sight in the woods, the authorities quickly arrived at the scene, their hearts heavy with the realization of what they might uncover. For Victor, the perfect life continued, and the murder of Naomi Carter became just another forgotten chapter in the dark history of the powerful and untouchable. This chilling tale exposes the price of living a life built on lies and manipulation. Naomi's rise to fame was marred by a toxic relationship with a powerful man who controlled her every move, until it spiraled into tragedy. Her story is a stark reminder of how fame, wealth, and power can breed envy, control, and deadly consequences. Despite the investigation, the killer escapes justice, leaving the truth buried beneath the wealth and influence that shielded him. If you were in Naomi's shoes, would you have trusted someone with so much power, or would you have seen the red flags before it was too late? If this story left you speechless, like and subscribe to Crime Chronicles for more shocking tales that uncover the darkest truths behind fame, power, and betrayal.